The most dangerous retirement mistake has nothing to do with money, and almost nobody's talking about it. I've actually spent a lot of time studying people who stay fully alive into their 80s and even 90s. They're not just breathing, they're actually alive. And what separates them has almost nothing to do with their portfolio. And yet I spent years working at Smith Barney helping very successful people build the kind of portfolios that people only dream about. We would get the number right, the retirement date, the income plan, the portfolio allocation, the whole thing. And then I'd watch some of those same people retire and fade. Not financially, that part was still good, okay? But within a few years of leaving the office, some of the sharpest, most driven people I'd worked with started shrinking. They were less alive, honestly. And I didn't have words for it back then. I hadn't defined it. But 25 years into coaching people in transition through major life transitions later, I feel like I have something to say and I want to share it with you here. What they retired from wasn't just a job, it was motivation, it was reason, it was a sense of get up and go and purpose. And before I get into the research, I want to ask you something. If you woke up tomorrow and your calendar was completely empty, no meetings, no obligations, no role to fill, what would pull you forward? There's nothing wrong with that, no vacation, but what would actually make you come alive? If that question makes you go, wow, I need to think about that, well, then stick with me because I want to work with you. What I'm about to share might change how you think about what comes next and make all the difference, including 3 things that you can do right now that are very tangible that as a coach or even a good financial advisor could help you act on. So here's what the science says, okay? It's not just what Jeff says. A UCL study published in the Lancet followed over 9,000 adults for 8.5 years. People with the highest sense of meaning and purpose, 9% of them died during that window. The people who felt like they didn't have meaning or purpose, 29% died. Same time period, 3 times the death rate. It wasn't their diet, it wasn't their exercise, it was purpose or not purpose. So if you really believe that, if you think that's true, look it up. Would you do something differently? Because here's what I want you to hear. You can do everything right financially, all that stuff, even eat vegetables, and still be in the wrong group. So I want you to pause for a second and tell you something makes this very personal for me. My dad was 89 years old when I asked him, Dad, what would you do differently if you could live life over again? And honestly, I saw Dad hadn't been the same for some years, but he didn't hesitate. He said, Jeff, I never would have retired. What do you mean, Dad? He said, I feel like I was bored. I wished I did something that gave me purpose. He said, I would have worked with a nonprofit, volunteered full-time, something that kept me connected to a bigger purpose. Give me a reason. I didn't want to just sit around, and I don't like golf that much. So this was a man in his late 80s looking back over his life. And what he saw was that there was a cost to pay when you don't have that vision. Honestly, I've never forgotten that conversation. I probably think about it every day. Honestly, if I could go back and do my wealth management, financial planning again, I'd do something different. I wouldn't let a single client walk out the door without having a financial plan and a purpose plan. Not just as a bonus, not as a nice to have, but as a condition of a strategy for the next phase of life. Because without it, the financial plan alone isn't going to protect you. Here's something I couldn't see when I was sitting across the desk from people planning their retirement. It's a study that looked at the longest lived people on earth in Okinawa, Japan. And they discovered there was no word for retirement in that language. What they found instead was a concept called ikigai, a reason to rise. Ikigai is the point where what you love, what you're good at, and what the world needs come to contribute together into one driving force that pulls you out of bed every morning. And for that reason, Okinawa has some of the highest concentrations of people living past 90 on Earth. And researchers say ikigai is a significant reason why. So let me ask you the second question. When you think about the next 10 years of your life, do you yet have a vision that genuinely pulls you forward? Or, like a lot of people, are you planning to stop doing things but not do something different? There is a difference, and that difference can be measured in the years of your life and certainly in the vitality. You can be proud of what you've built, where you've come. You can be content with your portfolio, satisfied with your life, and you can still be in that group that leaves this planet earlier. Because satisfaction and direction aren't the same thing. Let me tell you what purpose actually feels like, okay? Sit back for a second. Not the concept, the experience. It's waking up on a Monday with something pulling you toward the day rather than away from the week. It's a conversation that leaves you energized, more energized than when you started. It's knowing that what you're doing matters to someone beyond yourself. It's looking forward, not just back. It's that knowing that's hard to put into words, but impossible to fake, that you're in this game for a purpose. Still building, still becoming something, your 60s, your 70s, your 80s. I call it the next mountain. And here are 3 things that I've watched people who engage that next mountain actually do. I call them the 3 C's. These are practical. You can do them this week. Grab a pen. Coach can walk them through. An advisor who gets this can build them into your plan. The first is clarify. What do you love doing before the title, or what did you love doing before the title and the money mattered? What do people consistently come to you for even when you're not being paid? What problem in this world bugs you enough that you'd want to fix it? When you start answering those questions and they overlap, there's a starting point. Write them down. A good coach can process that with you in one conversation. The second C is connect. Take what you've found and attach it to a specific purpose, group, niche, not a concept, a person, a nonprofit that needs your exact expertise, a young leader who's needing a mentor who you can help, a community that has a problem you know how to solve. Purpose without a recipient stays kind of locked in your head forever, but the moment you name who you're doing this for, it becomes tangible and real. Finally, the third is commit. Put a date on it before you even feel ready. One first conversation, one meeting. Tell someone so you're accountable. High achievers, they're used to launching stuff, if that's you. But purpose doesn't work that way. You don't wait for clarity and then move. You move and then clarity follows. It's really an act of faith. Coach, a financial planner, can help you here by building your purpose plan into your retirement strategy the same way they'd build in any other priority. Time and money behind it, not someday, a date. I've coached a lot of CEOs, entrepreneurs, senior pastors, founders, people who've been successful. And yet the ones who struggle most in their 50s, 60s, and 70s weren't the ones who ran out of money. They ran out of mission. It's not a character flaw. It's what happens when a high-capacity person doesn't feel like there's a worthy next target. Your engine's still running, it just has nowhere yet to go. If this is landing for you, be sure to follow this channel. This is what I talk about. I call it the next mountain. There's the visual. The inner game of high achievers and what it actually takes to build that next mountain that means something. There's new videos every week. Hit follow. Be sure to come back because there is a next mountain in you. Do you believe it? Let's find that together.